Welcome back, folks. It's another great day here on Valiant Renegade. Make sure you hit that like, hit that subscribe, hit that notification bell. Share this sucker out on the social medias. And do leave a comment before you head out today. Because this is where Hollywood comes to get put through the business and financial lens of reality. It's time. Renegade Online. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome aboard. It's been a spell, but we're back here doing our first live show in several weeks for the Renegade Nation. Now, I know there's some of you out there a little confused because some of you are watching on the main channel right now on Valiant Renegade. That's okay. That was intentional. We are broadcasting. This is the Renegade Nation channel show, but because we had not done one in several weeks, I was afraid the algorithm was going to be, let's say, slightly punitive in that regard. So in order to mitigate some of that algorithmic hellscape that is YouTube from time to time, we're going ahead and broadcasting the opening, say, 30 minutes of the show on the main channel. We will then close it down. We've already got a redirect set up. If you want to go on over to the Renegade Nation channel right now and watch it from there, all the better. That would be awesome. In fact, let me pull that up. For those of you that aren't familiar with it, make sure you get over there and subscribe. This is where we do more of the current events and political news of the day or of the week, in this case, our weekly show. And we want to try to, kind of bring that topic over to another channel. So for those of you that have not signed up, that have not subscribed yet, let me pull this up real quick so you guys can see what I'm talking about here. For those of you who don't know, right here, Renegade Nation is what you want to get to. And again, when we close out on the main channel, you'll be automatically directed to the simulcast live stream right over here. Now, if you're watching on X, welcome aboard. We'd love you to watch on YouTube. I love X. I'm fine with it. It's a great platform. A little frustrating when it comes to live streaming. The chat and everything over here on YouTube is much more lively, and we appreciate all of our audience members out there, no matter where they're watching from, nonetheless. That being said, we have a guest joining us tonight, and that is, of course, great Ron Coleman. Ron, how you doing, buddy?
Good, thanks. How are you?
I am doing very, very well. Been a busy last several weeks, and needless to say that this is long overdue. So glad to be back here. We got some news going on today. Plenty of topics to kind of go through. Donald Trump is, I don't know if you heard this. Donald Trump is actually taking a ride along tonight after taking over, effectively, the D.C. police, as he would put it, with National Guard troops. He's going on a ride along with him this evening. Did a little speech earlier and going out tonight. We actually have an early image of this. If you haven't seen it, it's right here. He's leaving the Capitol right now. There he goes, just running down the streets of D.C. Thank you, Grok. Grok, make Donald Trump Batman running down the streets of, it's, hey, there we go. So this ought to be fun. We're going to talk about this. I'm kind of hoping that they'll begin some live coverage of it. I have a window open, ready to go for that if it kicks off. But yeah, we Trump, I guess, has kind of had enough of the bad behavior of some members of Washington D.C.'s populace, Ron, and yeah.
I don't think it's not. He's not being personally affected by it.
No.
but I think he recognizes that this is actually a political winner. It's the only place where he can demonstrate what is possible to be done to a crime-ridden blue city
Yeah.
simply by flipping a switch. Can't do it in New York. He can't do it in Detroit. He can't do it in Chicago, but he can
Right.
do it in Washington. And it's a brilliant move. And it's also beneficial to everyone in Washington except crooks.
Yeah, it really is. And it's one of those things I was going to ask you from the legal perspective, Ron. Um, there's something special about Washington D.C. That gives the federal government a little bit of extra power there, does it not? When it comes to governance, law and order.
A lot more extra power. I mean,
Yeah.
constitutionally, the District of Columbia is part of the federal. It's under federal control to the extent that Congress has authorized a degree of home rule. Regrettably, it has resulted in what we have today. But there's no other city like that. There's no other city that could be managed by the federal government. And as a general rule, if you're interested in federalism and you're interested in liberty and the Constitution, you wouldn't want the federal government running American cities. But Washington, D.C. has this special status because it is the capital of the United States of America. And it's a really bad look for it to look the way it does now, to be a place where people from all over the world are afraid to go out at night in our capital city, and which is also just completely out of control. But again, I really do think that that President Trump does legitimately care about this stuff, but I also think there is a bigger political point to be made, and he's making it very, very effectively.
Yeah.
Murders. How many nights in a row has it been in Washington with no murders? I just saw a tweet about.
I was going to ask you. Yeah, I saw this too. I heard somebody positing out there, and I've heard it from several places where they said that they thought it was maybe 6 or 7 days now where there hasn't been. I mean, it sounds unfathomable that we're going to sit here and we're going to celebrate that
exactly.
Nobody has been murdered in a major U.S. city, the capital of the United States, in 7 days. It's like somebody's got that little chalkboard up there on the side on the factory wall.
Exactly.
It has been this many days since the last accident. And you're just waiting for the poor guy, the foreman, to run up there with the eraser and erase the 200 and then put 0 back up because it's gonna, But this is the point. It's like, look, if New Orleans, where I'm from, if New Orleans went 7 days without a 19-year-old gangsta thug shooting a 17-year-old thug, we'd celebrate because that is the norm, unfortunately. And again, I understand where Trump is coming from. And I mean, Ron, this is going on a long time. You and I are both old enough, unfortunately, to remember way back when, 30, 40 years ago, whatever the hell it's been now. You remember the name Marion Barry?
I sure do.
I mean, good
God. The bitch set me up.
The bitch set me up. That Marion Barry. For those of you who don't know, Marion Barry is probably the most infamous mayor of Washington, D.C. in its history. Marion Barry was, he was a crackhead. And we can say that on YouTube because he was found with crack cocaine on a number of occasions. He was well known. I mean, this is not speculative. This is in fact the case. Dude was a mess. So Washington, D.C. has been an absolute dumpster fire. And look, when you are the president of the United States and you have to constantly entertain foreign dignitaries and whatnot, and everybody knows around the world that the capital of America is one of the most gang-ridden, violent, crime-ridden piles of garbage in the country. It's a little embarrassing, wouldn't you say?
It's very embarrassing. And it also, everything that can go wrong with an American city has gone wrong with Washington, D.C.
Yeah.
And yet there are still people, and will always be people, who insist that it should be made a state.
Yeah.
That this city, which already suffers from the indignity of being the home of its own, not only its own federal judicial district, meaning the district court, the trial court, which, folks, even New York State only has 4 districts. Okay, now it's true that the Southern District of New York is composed of just a handful of counties in New York City, but the idea of an entire district court being dedicated to Washington, D.C., to just one city, and an entire U.S. Court of Appeals also being so it has this outsized influence, and yet it's a complete disaster, and it is one that people still think should the only people who are advocating for DC statehood are people who just want to see 2 more Democratic seats in the Senate for DC. I mean, there's really no other. Yeah, that's Felon Lawyer points out in the chat. The Central District of California is only almost just one county. Yeah, that's pretty much true also. But you get my point.
Yeah. I mean, it is what it is. And good on Trump for taking the initiative to do this. There have been really every president, right? I mean, whether it's Republican, Democrat, nobody has wanted to tackle this issue over the years. And Trump is finally doing it.
What's amazing, Valiant, is the way, and I really do mean amazing. Mm-hmm. He's doing things, and I don't care whether the ideas are coming from the people around him, whatever it is, he's completely breaking out of the patterns of how we solve problems.
Yeah.
The patterns of how we look at how we can improve government, how we can reduce government, how we can make government more transparent. He's completely changing, changing the paradigms all around. Mm-hmm. And the more he does it, the more enemies he makes.
Yeah, it is true. And that's the thing is the whole issue with Washington, D.C., the crime problem there. It's probably second only to Social Security in terms of the political third rail, right? And now he's actually wading into it. What's great about Trump is he's the kind of guy where he feels like, what have I got to lose? I didn't have to come to Washington, D.C. to make my millions like every other politician here has done for 100 years or more. I don't have to be in Washington, D.C. to gain influence I'm here because I actually want to do stuff. It's as simple as that. And, the fact that the man is, about 80 years old, he's in a second term. Arguably, maybe could have been his third. But he what has he got to lose? Why not just go for it? And I think that's what he's been doing here since he got into office, to where this is a very different administration from round one, in the sense that he seemed, I think the critique that most people gave him in the first term was that he was unfortunately too trusting of the wrong people. And he got run over.
Right. I mean, look, he came from New York. He never claimed to be knowledgeable about the ways of Washington. In fact, he ran as an insider.
Yeah.
And he made the most obvious choices. If I can't trust the head of the Republican National Committee, if I can't trust the Speaker of the House, I mean, these are supposed to be the people who are going to make it all happen. And he really got screwed by a lot of people, including, of course, the people in entire departments.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It really is. And, we're hopefully we're seeing the results of this tonight. And what you're seeing on the screen here is just this was a speech that he was giving to law enforcement in D.C. earlier this afternoon, just about an hour or two ago, before he was going out. You can hear. This is wait, the audio didn't get shared. Sorry about that. So this is kind of funny. I actually kind of chimed in at the right moment there. He's talking about, hey, look, they made a fake legal case against me, $500 million, and it got overturned today. That's another topic we got to go into tonight. The fraud case against Donald Trump that crazily enough was itself fraud.
It was more than a fraud. It's a terrible thing when someone commits a fraud. Do we know? Let me explain what fraud is. Fraud is a knowing misrepresentation about the true nature of something that causes another person to rely on that misrepresentation and lose out by it.
Mm-hmm.
That's what a fraud is. We all know that the so-called fraud in the case of Donald Trump involved no one losing out anything. It was a travesty. And unfortunately, this important decision, which I don't want to take it for granted, but it was incomplete. They did not do what they should have done, the New York Court of Appeals, which would have been to say that this is, and the claims brought against Donald Trump, the criminal charges, were an inappropriate use of that criminal fraud statute. That's simply ridiculous. It gives them the ability to put anyone in just about any business into prison if they want to. The only reason that the news is good for Trump is that it's good for anyone to have a $500+ million criminal penalty reversed. That's never good news. But it was, it was an incomplete victory. I think these Democrat judges went as far as they could, but from what I understand, and I didn't have a chance to read the opinion before coming on today, but I've seen it from a couple of people, including Tom Fitton from maybe I put in the chat, Valiant, I think a very helpful post on X that I think people will find very elucidating if we can share it.
Yeah. Let's see. You put it in the private chat or the
private chat. Yep.
Sorry, right up at the top. So I was getting stuff set up here before I realized what that was. Okay, hang on a second. Let me pull that up. And while you're doing that, and just for everybody's edification here on this case, this was one of the weirdest, most bizarre things that I've ever seen, because we had a suit filed, or criminal charges. I mean, the state of New York went after Donald Trump for fraud, suggesting that he claimed that his net worth, the value of his properties, the value of Mar-a-Lago, the value of his assets, his holdings were, and I mean, not just a little overstated, but a lot overstated by orders of magnitude. It was so stupid that during this court case, that the prosecution, Letitia James's team and all them, tried to argue effectively that Mar-a-Lago in Florida, that Trump had valued at $1 billion plus, was only worth about $20 million.
27 million.
Yeah, I mean, because what they did was they looked at all the properties. Like they actually presented this in court as a legal argument, as if this was somehow even remotely intelligent. They looked at all the properties around Mar-a-Lago and said, well, all these properties have an average of home value, assessed value of about $20-something million. The problem was the average size lot was half an acre with a house on it. Mar-a-Lago is something like, what is it, 20 or 40 acres? And with a massive complex. I'm like, it was, and of course, because it was New York, which is let's face it, it's more or less a legal shithole. And again, it's a get Trump, screw Trump at any cost, throw the law out the window, throw logic out the window, throw math out the window, throw intelligence out the window. They were playing to a jury and playing to a judge that I could make the argument personally, Valiant Renegade, I'm not going to speak for Ron here, that may have the IQ of warm salad. And that's kind of what's going on here. So let me pull up this tweet that you mentioned here. Let me just switch this and get a new window up here so we can pull that. But it was one of the most ridiculous cases. And of course, because it was in New York, it went against Trump because that was the design. And it's the very definition of the phrase lawfare, where you're going to quite literally engineer a case with little to nothing behind it. And remember, in this case, when it came to the fraud, there was no injured party here anywhere. The banks that they claim that Trump had overstated the value of his assets to were happy to work with Trump. The loans were repaid. Nobody suffered any financial damage. This was a crime without any victim at all anywhere, state or otherwise.
And the majority pointed out in throwing out the fine was that these damages were awarded on a theory of I forgot the word all of a sudden. Not expungement. Giving money back to someone who lost money. Well, everyone agrees that no one lost money. The banks, in fact, wanted to continue doing business. Not Danielle. I'm complete brain fart. But no one lost money.
Yeah, no defaults.
And the judge made it very clear that he wanted to send a message, that he wanted to deter similar conduct from others. That's not what those kind of damages are about.
Yeah.
All right. So let's read what Tom Fitton. So Tom Fitton is the head of Judicial Watch.
Mm-hmm.
He's the guy who always shows up with a muscle shirt, regardless of the time of year, regardless of the. But
you're not wrong.
But he's done incredible work
mm-hmm.
for Judicial Watch, and I always said that he was doing the work that used to be done by the media, investigating things, getting whatchamacallit, I'm so dumb, FOIA things and getting documents, and in any event, you want to read it? You're the voice.
Yeah, I'll be happy to. Hang on a second. I'm going to switch this. I don't know why Safari has me logged out. It's kind of making it irritating, so I'm going to pull it up here. Here we go from Tom Fitton. He says, I have carefully reviewed today's New York State appellate decision, which, quote, unanimously derails the effort to destroy Trump's business. It is both a vindication of the real Donald Trump and an indictment of Tish James and the corrupt Judge Engoron, if I'm saying that right, and the New York judicial system. But this judicial decision is largely dishonest and political, even as it is a huge victory for Trump. And here are some of the bullet points that Tom points out. Only 2 Democratic elected justices backed the unprecedented fraud, quote, fraud verdict and politicized persecution or prosecution, pardon me. Two other Democrat elected judges, and this is on the appellate court, essentially said that the lower court judge rigged the case. I mean, yeah. That Trump's trial was unfair and called for a retrial. And in the most scathing take, Judge Friedman exposes the whole thing as a corrupt, quote, get Trump, closed quote, sham by Letitia James.
The word I was looking for, by the way, disgorgement.
Disgorgement. Thank you. Gotcha. Letitia James's ultimate goal was not market hygiene. I'm going to tell you what, that's a phrase I've never heard before, but I love it. Market hygiene.
You can use that in your next client consultation.
I know. I had one this afternoon right before I got home to do the show. James's ultimate goal was not market hygiene, but political hygiene, ending with the derailment of President Trump's political career, or at least the attempted derailment of President Trump's political career, and the destruction of his real estate assets. Outrageously, the, quote, fraud finding technically survives, even as three justices openly rejected it completely. Typical New York Alice in Wonderland politicized, quote, justice. No majority for fraud finding, yet liability upheld. And this is what I want you to talk about, because this is a weird appellate verdict. As a layperson, all justices agree the penalties against Trump were wildly unconstitutional. Which, again, Ron, you could probably speak to that about excessive fines and penalties. And the judiciary pretends that this is coherent. Patriots should review Judge Friedman's dissenting opinion themselves. It exposes how partisan abuse of power has warped the rule of law in New York. In the meantime, the sham case against Trump is a legal zombie that higher New York or federal courts should strike down ASAP. Ron, I honestly, I'm flabbergasted at the notion that some judges that sit the bench are far more driven by politics and activism than they are, say, the law.
It is heartbreaking to consider. I know.
Give me your thoughts on this, because this is so. What it sounds like Tom is saying here is that okay, they've vacated the penalties, the judgment, the consequence of the verdict, but it sounds to me like that they're still, oh yeah, well, we don't want to challenge the verdict of quote unquote fraud, but we're just going to eradicate the monetary penalties. What am I getting that right? What's going on here?
That is correct. I put something up to share.
Okay.
So I think it won't go up until you take yours down.
Oh, hang on a second. Pardon me. We'll fix that.
There
you go,
so
sir.
This is a page from the opinion.
Mm-hmm. Go ahead and go through this. I'll be right back in 10 seconds. Go ahead.
The disgorgement, that's the word, disgorgement. So what's disgorgement? Disgorgement means you wrongfully received money. It could be wrongful profits, but if you didn't profit, it's still revenue. It's money that came your way and which you are holding on to. So as a matter of equity, we're going to disgorge, remove that which you have engorged. Well, guess what? The disgorgement and return it to those to whom it rightfully belongs. Well, the disgorgement award in this case is punitive in nature because no victims are parties to the action. The penalty seeks to deter rather than compensate, and the disgorgement will be paid exclusively to the government. That's not disgorgement because the government didn't lose the money. No one lost money.
Nobody lost the money. That was just it. That's what made this whole thing so bizarre.
In making the award, Supreme Court. So that's in New York judicial language. That if you see Supreme Court, they mean the Supreme Court of New York County, as opposed to the Supreme Court. Then that would probably mean the United States Supreme Court. But what they're saying here is, making the award, this lunatic judge used punitive and retributive language, retribution, right? Stating that it was aimed to deter wrongdoing by preventing the wrongdoer from retaining ill-gotten gains. The court described defendants' conduct as a venial sin, noting that defendants demonstrated a complete lack of contrition and remorse that is found to be almost pathological. Thus, inasmuch as the disgorgement award was clearly designed to punish the offender and is to be paid exclusively to the government rather than to victims, if any, there weren't.
Right. None were identified.
It's a fine for purposes of constitutional analysis. So the point is, it's the wrong kind of damages. And since it was a fine, we are, as opposed to being disgorgement, because disgorgement, if I lost $500 million, which happens to me, my crazy fortunes go in and out. I lose 500 million one month, another month I make 600 million. I can't even keep track of it. But if I lose 500 million because of your fraud, there's no such thing as a constitutionally excessive fine if a court orders you, it's your fraud, to give it back to me. It's not a fine. It's simply compensation. But a fine has to be fine under the Constitution.
Yeah.
And what the court said here was it violated the constitutional limitation on unreasonable fines.
Yeah, and then it begs the question, what happens to the case from here? And I kind of want to get into that, but let me do a little shopkeeping here first for us, Ron, because we got some super chats that came in for us. And then what I'm going to read these out, and then we're going to close the stream on the main channel, send everybody over to Renegade Nation, so we can, again, start feeding back into that channel. And then over the next couple of weeks, as we get back to a sense of rhythm here, we'll just be over there and on X as well. Packing Protons for 5 says, if TMNT made it into the top 10, imagine how much farther it would have gone if they actually advertised it and kept it for more than 1 week. I guess that was something on some news I missed earlier today on that one. I'll have to look that one up, Packing, but thank you for the 5. And Araxa says, insert membership gifting here, Valiant. You have some splaining to do. Literally don't. You don't. So anyone want to meet up at Crackerless Barrel? Hey, Ron, thanks for spending time with VR. Thank you, Araxis. No, I know. I don't have membership set up on the new channel yet. Maybe down the road. That's just something else I haven't wanted to get into yet. Super chats are there, and we appreciate them. Packing Proton says, for 5 as an hour ago, he thought there was an active shooter at Villanova. However, he followed up with a $2 super chat. Disregard. Apparently, there was a hoax. Well, that's good news. We don't want anybody injured. Thank you, Packing Protons. Appreciate all your support. Marcus Quintus, fire in the frickin' hole. Priceless from Grandpa. Thank you for the $2, Marcus.
All right, listen. Can you explain that to me? I don't get it. Is that from one of your movies?
It's a movie reference. Yeah. Yeah.
One of your moving pictures?
Yes.
One of the moving pictures that the old people used to watch. We used to have the piano player in the background before they had the talkies.
Are we blind? Deploy the likes, says Benjamin Loken. Yes, please smash the like button here on the Valiant Renegade channel and on the Renegade Nation channel. And if you're watching on X, please share it out and hit the thumbs up button as well. We appreciate you. Tennessee Tornado says, for 5, as a proud Tennessean, I'm less than proud of our beloved Cracker Barrel being, or our beloved cracker being bent over a barrel. FDEI. Yeah, I figured that was going to be a hot question tonight. I'll talk a little bit about that later. We'll get into that one. Archer Merchant for 5. What if, hear me out, he throws the money from the police cruiser as they tour the district, talking about DC. Now, Ron, you probably, I don't know if you get the reference there.
I absolutely do, because I actually a couple of weeks ago I was binging. I was binging on car chase videos.
Okay, but there's specificity to this one. I gotta
Okay,
tell.
all right,
Okay.
help me out.
All right, so let me pull the picture back up, because this is actually a really fun reference, and I'm 99% sure I know what Archer's talking about. This is a good callback. So let's go back to this picture. It just disappeared as soon as I said share this image. The thing went away. Why did it go away?
Because you don't know what you're doing.
I don't. I'm an idiot with a mouse and a button. Okay, well, it just went away. So we had the picture up earlier. I pulled it up on screen and poof, it just went gone. The picture of Batman. Here we go. Now I've got it. So the joke is, in the first Michael Keaton Batman movie in 1989, Jack Nicholson, who played the Joker.
Oh, okay.
He was on a big, giant, like Mardi Gras float, riding through the streets of Gotham with Prince's 1999 blasting. And he was grabbing handfuls of money, chucking it off the side to the population of Gotham.
Okay.
So it's a Batman reference. Yeah, so I love it, Archer. Yeah, that's just it. We got a great old Batman reference. Purple Sunset became a YouTube channel member. Welcome aboard, sir. Make sure you check us out on Renegade Nation, and we'll be sending everybody over there just in a minute. Campchi for 2. Can he focus on out? Good Lord. Can he focus on out of, I guess he means out of control, censorship, video game, and anime? He could. The problem with that is very, very low priority compared to the much bigger problems that are out there. I'm not saying that's not a problem, and I'm not saying he won't ever get to it. The censorship in general. But if you think Donald Trump is going to spend a lot of time dealing with, that thing specifically with video games, you're going to be disappointed. He's got much bigger fish to fry, and he's got 3 years to do it. He is going to go scorched earth for 3 years on the Highline stuff. Campchi says for 2, and MasterCard and Visa abuse power than museum. I know there's translation issues when Campchi super chats. I get what you're saying, because the payment processors are using their power to say that, we're just not going to service this anymore if you do X, Y, and Z. This has been kind of coming around for a while. I think something like that may wind up becoming an issue for, say, the Federal Trade Commission, Ron, perhaps. If you've got Visa and MasterCard trying to say...
It's not something that he's going to discuss in the White House. He has people for that.
Right, exactly. And Aaron Goldstein says, hey, only New Yorkers can crap on New York. God, I need to get out of this liberal hellhole. Praying the commie doesn't become mayor. Yeah, y'all, look, we thought New York has had some commie sons of bitches before, but holy shit, do y'all have one on the way? Good Lord. And the reality is, I mean, that idiot's going to probably get elected. Let's be honest. Mom Donnie, whatever his name is, that dude's a psycho. Good luck, New York. But you know what? The majority of your voters out there, y'all built this. This is what you wanted. This is what you got.
Well, not Aaron. Not Aaron. I'm sure he voted the right way.
No, it says the majority of voters, not all of them. But I mean, clearly the majority of voters continue to vote for more psycho socialism and low rent politics in that city. Snarky, what's up, my man? Gifted 5 Valiant Renegade channel memberships. Thank you very much. Good, sir. And Staccato and Goron put the Oron in moron. What a dumbass. Thank you, Staccato. I like that one. Very, very clever. Good, sir. Good to see you, my man. And Snarky for $20. Valiant vocalize. Oh, he's doing the alliteration thing. Okay, here we go. Snarky says, Valiant vocalize vigorously vibrant volumes of viral, visual, and vital news. Renegade, rigorous, raucous, and reverent rants of reality for the Renegade Nation regulars. Victorious vigilance and righteously ridicule the ridiculous. How about that? Thank you, Snarky. Very well played, sir. Well played. Grab a couple more here. Marcus Quintus for 5. The only thing I ever threw out of my squad car was candy while being stuck doing parades. For those of you who don't know, Marcus is a retired law enforcement officer. So he's always got a lot to say when we get to these stories. Thank you, Marcus. Swift -1 for 5. 2 things. Do the guardsmen have qualified immunity like the police in DC? What can they do? How's the Trump suing Murdoch? He had another lawsuit out there for $10 billion going. I can't speak to the lawsuit he's got against, I guess, Rupert Murdoch. But that's an interesting question about the National Guard with their policing powers and how liability is handled. Hold that thought. I tell you what, we'll answer that question. I want Ron to maybe chime in on that. Juliet for 2 British pounds sterling. She says, like, subscribe, and share. Thank you very much, Juliet. All right, folks, we're going to close the stream on the main channel. Head on over to Renegade Nation. You're going to get automatically redirected there if you're watching on the main Valiant Renegade channel. So no worries there. You're going to get the 10-second outro. I'm sorry. You won't get the 10-second outro. I'm simply going to unpin it right now. And 3, 2, 1, we'll see you on Renegade Nation.